Hello and welcome to All About Billings. We are a show dedicated to discovering the people who make Billings a great place to work and live. We will interview local business people, community leaders, artists, entertainers, and we will learn from them all about their successes, their failures, and their connection to Billings. I'm your host, Nancy Brooke, broker and owner at Billings Best Real Estate. And today it is my pleasure to have my friend and fellow powerlifter, Sheryl Shockley, join the show. Now, Sheryl is not only a powerlifter, she is a world champion powerlifter, and she is a cancer warrior. And today she's going to teach us how strength has no limits. So welcome to the show, Sheryl.
Thank you very much, Nancy.
Well, it's wonderful to have you here, and you know, I love your yellow.
This one happens to be lemon head because I have like 36 different wigs and they all have names.
Yes, well, and you've had a lot of fun with the wigs, which
Yes.
we'll get into in a bit when you're lifting. So that's a pretty fun way to show your true colors, right?
It is, and it's part of my mental fight
Yeah.
against this monster. I work on campus, and my professors and students never know who they're going to see when they come into the office. They like to try to guess the names, but
Yes.
I've had it for a while. So this is bald round 3. So they're used to seeing me with all my wild
Oh, well,
hair.
I'm glad you could still laugh. Well, you know, let's get started because
Okay.
before the cancer came the powerlifting.
Yes.
So let's start with powerlifting. How long have
Okay.
you been powerlifting?
17 years.
Oh my goodness.
A little over 17. My daughter is a power lifter as well and was doing it with Special Olympics, and her coach encouraged her to be in the Big Sky State Games. So Vivian was in the Big Sky State Games. Our friend Jim Thompson was the commissioner,
Sure.
and he was encouraging people in the audience, you need to encourage the women in your life to join this sport, and he's naming off all these things, why it's good for you. And Vivian turns and looks at me and says, well, come on, Mom, you can do it. I can't, I don't want to, it's too hard. 3 things we've never let her say with her intellectual different abilities. And so I thought, okay, we'll give powerlifting a shot. So that was my midlife crisis, I guess. I started at age 50, I started powerlifting.
Some people buy sports cars and you pick up iron.
I do, pick up heavy things.
Well, so was it what you thought it would be? I mean, were you a little intimidated when you first started?
A little bit, but it was a sport that I could do, and I was not depending on anybody else. This was something that I could make myself do, and I could join Vivian in knowing how to do the sport. And you know, it's something, it's like, oh, hey, I can do this. All right, let's continue on then.
Well, and you hired a coach sometime soon after you started,
Yes.
or right away?
Not right away. I was on my own for a couple of years, and
Okay.
then started working with my trainer, Sean.
Yeah, Sean McDaniel,
Yep.
who's been on the show before, and he's been he's the one who started Plaza
Yes.
Fitness many years ago. and
35 years ago.
Still trains there to
Yes.
this day. And
He's-
you still work with him?
I still work with him.
Wow. So what was it like when you first started? So you started with the intention of competing?
At the Big Sky State Games.
Okay.
Didn't have any, clue that this was going to build into something more. But I thought it's good exercise. And when you get to that point in your life at age 50, you're like, oh, I should exercise maybe a little bit more. And it was good exercise. And it gets in your brain when you're lifting. You're a lifter, it's like, okay, just that much more next time. But it's kind of addictive.
It really can be, because
Yeah.
you not only are challenging yourself with the weights,
Yes.
it's also mentally challenging, because things, especially in a meet, things can happen that are unexpected, and you have to have the mental fortitude to carry on.
And you can't think about anything else when you're in the monolift or doing a squat lift or doing a bench. That's all you can focus on. So it takes you out of your everyday worries, stresses, cares, whatever. It's you and the bar and the weight.
So how many meets have you competed in? Have you ever counted?
Shoot, I did a while ago, but probably well over 100.
Really?
In
Wow.
17 years, when you go through and count all the
Yeah.
little ones and big ones and everything, yeah.
Wow. So what makes you continue on with the sport?
I just don't want to give up. And I want to do just that little bit better than I did the last time. But now that I'm going through the cancer fight, my oncologist is thrilled to death that I've been lifting for 17 years because chemo is extremely hard on the bones. Where would I be if I hadn't been lifting for as many years?
Well, and not just the cancer, but as we get older, people, men and women, lose muscle tone if they don't do something to combat it.
And you lose, you go from osteopenia into osteoporosis.
Of course.
And so my oncologist is thrilled to death that I'm, and he wants me to continue lifting because it helps battle against the chemo.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the cancer diagnosis, because I know I heard at a local powerlifting meet, was it 23?
2023.
Yeah, 23. And so
I was.
How did that come about? How did you
your
find
yearly
out?
mammogram went in? They called me the next day, and when they call you the next day, you know something's up. You don't get the letter in the mail, and they said you need to come in. So I was diagnosed in March of 23. Had surgery in May of 23, started chemo, and we thought we had a beat. By the end of October, we thought I was clear. I was good for a year. And then last year we found out it had metastasized. So it's parked on my liver. It's not liver cancer, it's breast cancer, but it's on my liver. So I've been fighting it since November of last year.
Wow. Well, and the amazing thing, I think, is you haven't let that slow you down in terms, well, obviously you have to make modifications.
Yes.
I shouldn't say it that way.
Accommodations,
right.
yes.
But you are still lifting, you're still training. You have to be careful, like with your breathing and your heart rate.
I do, because the one chemo drug that I was on caused some lung issues. We've now flipped to another drug, but makes me a little wheezy, a little huffy, and so I have to be careful, but I'm not going to let cancer define who I am. That's like way down on the list of who I am, and I want to just keep lifting. I'm not lifting as heavy, but what I lifted last week at the gym is more than what I did at the meet at the end of August, so that made me feel really good.
Well, and you were just in Idaho at the same meet I was at, and you were able to basically set a world record in your age group, right?
Yep, my age and weight group, because it was empty.
Well, that's okay. You know what I always say, just like I used to do running, and maybe I'd get first place in my age group, and I'd say, well, there are only 3 people, and then a friend of mine would say, that's all right, you're here doing the work, and other people aren't.
Yes, and so it was chemo earlier in the week, and then went down, and Vivi competed, and I coached her through her day, and then I got to compete the next day.
Yeah, I just remember that last deadlift, and I think you did more than you thought you were going to do at the end.
A little bit more, yeah.
Right. But I just remember the tears of joy, just that you did it.
I did it. When I put that bar down, I knew I had done it, and I did. I raised my fist and shook it and said, "Cancer, you don't get to win today."
Yeah.
I do, because I won.
Well, and that must just give you that sense of purpose too, like, hey, this is what I'm about. This isn't what I'm about.
Exactly.
Because it probably is easy to get fixated on the disease.
It can be, but I want people to understand everyone has a monster. Everybody's got a monster that they have to deal with in their life. Just don't let that monster define who you are. Face it with joy, face it with laughter, which the wigs, and say, no, you don't get to define me. I get to define who I am. And you fight the disease. You just fight it, or whatever monster it is that you face in your life.
And this isn't your first world championship title. So you've been setting records for a lot of years.
Yeah, probably at least 17 years, probably 10 to 12.
Wow.
But as we age, there's kind of an attrition factor.
Oh, well, it happens.
There's fewer women, although there are now more women lifting. As we both witnessed when we competed in Idaho, there were a lot of women and older women competing, which thrills me to death.
Yeah, there definitely are. You know, I once had a client kind of say, "You're a power lifter. That's kind of a peculiar thing to do at your age, isn't it?" I'm like, well, I guess it.
At my age? What about
I don't know.
But it's fun. There's a camaraderie in the sport, because You can be going up against a woman in your same age group, in your same weight bracket, and she is screaming just as loud for you as you are for her, because you know how hard it is.
Absolutely.
So there's a real camaraderie with the power lifters.
Still want to beat her or beat the record, but that's okay.
Yeah, you still want to beat it, but yet they cheer. We cheer everybody on.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So what has been the highlight of your career at this point?
Oh, the highlight.
Your powerlifting career, I should.
Okay, the powerlifting, probably going to Finland, when Vivi and I went to Finland to compete at the meet there. It was not the one side that we normally compete in. We compete in the drug tested side.
Right.
And so you have drug tested, you have non-drug tested. So you have, those people that you're going up against that, aren't doing it quite like you do.
Sure.
But we still went to Finland and we competed, and it was an experience. It really was. And it's like, see, we can lift, and we're lifting clean. Hello, here we are.
What was memorable about that event?
The fact that I'm half Finn helped,
and
my dad was still alive at the time, and so he was very excited that we got to go to Finland, and we did a lot of sightseeing. But that I got to share it with Vivian, and that we could share the lifting. And I had to laugh because when we went to check in, of course you have all these different languages of different people checking in because it's a world meet. And there were a couple of gals from Britain there, and they were talking, and they said, "You're American?" "Yeah." And they said, "Oh, okay, which one are you?" And they're pointing at Vivian and I, and they're thinking it's Vivi, not me. And they said, "This is Vivian, right? She's got a banging deadlift." And Vivian was just so proud that it's like, "But what's a banging deadlift?" I said, "It's a good deadlift," because she pulled, I think, a 310.
Okay.
But just the fact that they were very supportive of her with her intellectual different abilities, that they accepted her as a lifter, just makes my heart as a mom feel so good.
So what has been your most memorable lift, if you had one?
Oh, probably when we were in Grand Rapids. We had to qualify at nationals, and I just wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get it or not. And there was a group of gals, about half a dozen, young 20s, that were sitting on the floor in front of the pad, and they kept encouraging me that you can do it, you can do it. And as I started to pull, and you know what it's like, getting that, you break it off the floor, and they were literally pounding their fists on the floor, yelling, "Stand up, stand up, stand up." And I did, and that was a 310-pound deadlift, and that was, yeah.
That's your best deadlift?
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing that people don't know sometimes is there's different weight classes, and you've competed in several different weight classes. And so I know we used to kind of joke around like
back and forth,
like the pound for pound, you're the strongest you've ever been. And there's a factor to that too.
There is. And age.
Right.
Because Vivi and I can lift the same. You and I can lift the same. I win because of my master's multiplier. I'm just that much older than you are.
Right.
But it's good for us. It's a fun sport.
Yeah. And so what made you decide to continue on lifting once the cancer diagnosis happened? And obviously you didn't lift for a while once you had surgery and all of
I had
that.
to get through the surgery and the recuperation, get through the chemo, but I wasn't going to let it limit my life.
Mm-hmm.
And because Vivi depends on me, I need to be at the gym, so why not be lifting anyway?
Yeah.
I'm her coach, and I want her to understand, doesn't matter what life throws at you. You can still compete, you can still lift, you can still be active, you can still do all those things.
What gives you this kind of positive attitude? Because, a lot of times when we have, whether it's an illness or other problems in life, like you said, everyone has their monsters, and, people can have addictions, people can have, family troubles, a whole host, financial problems. There's a whole host of things that people can have wrong, and sometimes it's really hard to buoy yourself out of those ruts, in life.
It can be, yeah. I have a very firm faith, and that's where I base everything. First and foremost, I am a child of the one true God, and He says, "Daughter, I have what you need." And so that's what I lean on. I lean on my Savior. And then all the rest of the stuff comes in. Wife, mom, Grammy, auntie, let's see, sister, friend, working at the college.
Coworker.
Powerlifter, coach, cancer warrior, down there somewhere. But friend, all of those things. But my faith is what sustains me.
Wow. And so was that just something that you've had all along, or has it become stronger with the cancer?
It's become stronger in a way, and that I lean on him more. I lean on my faith more because I know I can't do this in and of myself. And I hope that people understand that you can't do it on your own.
What advice would you give to somebody who is going through something like a cancer diagnosis?
Find a friend, somebody maybe that's been through it, or even if it's not a friend, find somebody that's been through it and say, can you help me? I know when you go through cancer diagnosis, one of the first people that you meet at your biopsy appointment is your breast cancer navigator. And mine is Ella. And Ella is there no matter what is going on, there she is. And she's able to answer questions. There's a support group here in town that meets once a month. I'm not able to join because of other obligations, but you need that support. And it's great when we get together and I get with these ladies again, and they say, I'm a 10-year survivor. I'm a 20-year survivor. I'm a 30-year survivor, which means they're clean of cancer. You need that support. And there's weird things that happen to you that you go through that only another surgery person knows, or chemo patient person knows. You have that shared, it's not a shared interest, it's a shared life, going bald, what that's like as a woman. That is not easy, but you can talk to other women and go, what'd you do? How'd you manage?
And so you decided not to, I guess, be sad about it. You made it fun. And I know at the meet you had I don't know how many different weights you brought with, 4 or 5?
I had 9.
9? Oh my goodness.
One for each lift.
Okay.
And you just pull it off and pop another one on. My grandson Chase said, Grammy, you put them on like Lego people heads. Click. So every time I put my hair on in the morning, that's what I think of. Click. And you put your hair on. And
that just make you feel happy just doing it?
It makes you smile. And I mean, what other woman do you know that can coordinate their clothes and their hair?
Right.
I thought, well, I'll wear the yellow shirt today. Okay, lemon head. If I chose that blouse like you have on, that would probably be Tinkerbell or Fuchsia, because they all have names. My kids, my grandkids, even my department chair's daughter helped me name one.
Oh my goodness.
She wanted one, she said unicorn, so I found one that looked like, I thought, a unicorn. And I wore it when she was there, and she went, no, Lucky Charms marshmallows. So that's what that one's name is. Or the one that I really laugh about, I have one that's red and blue and green and just all colors. And I messaged my daughter-in-law and said, okay, the boys get to name this one. And I got the answer back from my grandson, Landon, unicorn poop.
Oh.
And I said, message back and said, sorry, Landon, I am not wearing unicorn poop on my head. He was 14 at the time. He's a 14-year-old boy. Okay, I get it. So we went to the 9-year-old, and he said Skittles.
Okay.
Okay, so that we have Skittles.
Skittles is a little bit a little bit more doable.
Yeah, but Vivi named Shrek, and Mark named Orange Crush, and we just have fun.
Well, and you seemed to have a blast when you were at the meet too.
Yes.
When you were lifting.
Yeah.
Because powerlifting can be pretty intense.
Yes, it can be.
I mean, you're battling what's your next lift going to be, and I mean, you kind of have a plan, but there's a lot going on.
And you're thinking with squats, get depth, get low enough.
Right.
You got to get your white lights, which means that you've done it correctly. And so you're thinking of so many things, and there's so much going on that it can be kind of intense.
Well, and for those who don't know, there's 3 lifts to a powerlifting meet. So you have squats, and you get 3 attempts at squats.
Yep.
And then you have bench press.
Yep.
And then finally deadlifts.
Deadlifts.
Yeah. So it sounds like deadlifts was your favorite lift?
Oh, deads is always my favorite lift. That's when you get to show off. You get to show off, and usually I can lift more on deads
Sure.
than I can on the others.
Right. So when you do training, what is your training plan like? And have you had to modify it with your cancer?
Yes, not as many lifts, or what we call reps, not as many repetitions. And Sean tells me less is more, which is true. So not as many repetitions, not as heavy a weight. I only did 140s on Sunday, and that tuckered me out. Okay, so
For
I know.
deadlifts, you did 140, and your max that you've done is 310.
Yes.
But you're a little lighter than you were.
I'm lighter, I'm older,
Right,
and
right.
I'm fighting cancer. So, you know,
Sure.
whatever I lift, I'm
That's a
ahead
victory.
of 95% of the other women out there, the other people that are out there. I'm in the gym and I'm doing it.
Right. Well, and you've told me that you staying healthy and fit is important not only just for your own joy, but also because you're a caretaker and you want to be
Caregiver.
You want to be,
Yeah,
yes.
we don't want to be a
caregiver. Okay.
caretaker at the
Okay.
cemetery.
But you
Caregiver.
are somebody who does have a daughter, and you have a husband, and you
With health
are,
issues.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
are the person who takes care of everybody.
Yes, so I have to stay healthy. There's no choice.
So in a way, has that like made you continue on even
Yes.
sometimes when you maybe, I mean, we all
Even
have
when I
days.
don't want
yeah, when
to.
you maybe don't feel like it.
Yep, because you know you have to, because you have other people depending on you. My coworkers are depending on me because of my full-time job. So you have to stay healthy.
Right.
But I just want to, you know, hey folks, don't say I can't. You choose not to maybe, but I got to get up this morning. I didn't have to, but I got to get up. I got to go to work versus the alternative of not being there. So, you know, staying healthy is a good thing and pushing through.
What advice would you give to somebody who wants to get started with fitness, and maybe it's an older person who hasn't done anything in a long time and maybe doesn't have the mobility or the strength? Where would you suggest they begin?
Should we tell them where we go to the gym and give a little plug to Plaza? Find a gym with a trainer that is accustomed to working with your age group, because we are a different breed. You know, there are things that face women that are older or people that are older, but getting to a gym and finding a trainer and finding a program, if you're internet savvy, look on the internet, see if you can find something on the internet, but yeah, go and find somebody that'll help you. And at most gyms, people are willing to, you know, if you have a question about a piece of equipment or whatever, they're willing to help you.
Well, and my goodness, you don't have to start with powerlifting.
No.
I mean, you can start with a little baby dumbbell if that's all you can start with.
A can of soup.
There you go.
You don't have to do a whole lot. And what are you've got what, 1 pounders, 2 pounders? You don't have to do extreme weight bearing exercise like we do. 2.5, 5 pounds, just moving your blood, working your muscle is going to help.
I will say too, I have seen with my partner who started lifting, and he had really frozen shoulder, and just from doing the lifting, now all of a sudden he's got so much more mobility and
More range of motion.
Yeah, and it stretches you while it strengthens, really.
Yes.
If you're lifting. So, and again, I mean, if you are new to it, get a trainer.
Oh yeah.
Or, you know, make sure you're working out with somebody who knows what
Yes,
they're doing.
because it's easy lifting. The gym's a place you can really get hurt. Lifting, powerlifting, you can get hurt if you're not doing it correctly.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to have death by squatting.
Or even back out of place or something, you know, or the bench bar come down and, you know, choke you to death. No,
Yeah, that would be terrible.
There are occasions where that has happened. People just aren't paying attention.
Right. Well, and I think the other thing is, if you can lift the bar, if you are interested in competing, you can compete.
Yes.
You don't have to have you know, the plates on the bar.
Nope.
If you can do the bar, you can sign up for a competition. And the Big Sky State Games still has competition,
Yes,
and
they
it's
do.
pretty easy to do. It's beginners a lot of times.
Yes. And it's just, like I said, the camaraderie, the, you know, going out and doing it and saying, you know what, I did that. You know, it's a good thing. You know, you can be proud of yourself for going out and doing it.
Yeah. What was your biggest disappointment ever in powerlifting? Have you had one?
Finland.
So it was a good time, but it was disappointing.
Yes. As you know, for squats, you've got the head judge, and then you've got 2 side judges, which on a clock, where are they? They're at 3 and at 9. Well, in Finland, they were like at 10 and 2. So they couldn't judge that we were going down and doing parallel. And so that was quite frustrating. And then the deadlift, he did it different. He wanted what they call a hyperextended back, where you were arched extremely far back. And so my first lift at 275 didn't count. I pulled it up and I looked at him and waited for him to say down, and I said down. He went, okay, and I got 3 red lights. So it was a non-qualifying lift. It was bad. And so I said, what? And he showed me how I had to arch my back almost. And they told Vivian she needed to pull faster. And she got upset. Yeah, exactly. She said, what do they expect? I'm standing up with 300 pounds. I can't pull that fast. And I looked at the pictures afterwards, and there I am. And I stood up with the one, but I looked, and there was what we call a cheater bar that they put the bar on to load it. The bar is like right behind me, and my spotter's like 10 feet back. So had I fallen backwards, which you're taught if you do fall, I'd have impaled myself.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I looked at that picture and I was just, yeah. So I was not really happy with this fella. If we ever do an international meet again, if he's the head judge, it's like, no, we're not doing that one. I was not very happy with that, because you could hurt yourself so bad by leaning back so far with a hyperextended
and
lift.
the other thing is just traveling internationally really
Is tough.
It takes a toll. I mean,
It does.
I went to Ireland. The only saving grace was I beat my total by 2.5 kilograms, but I did not perform the way I thought I would.
Because you're exhausted.
And we were lifting. It was such a big meet. We were lifting till 10:30 at night.
Which we are not used to at all.
No. Well, especially when you start at 9 and you're lifting till 10:30 at night. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it is. And there's such a space of time between the disciplines that you're not warm anymore.
Right.
You've kind of settled. And you ended up having to deadlift and bench again, which that's a lot.
Well, as we wrap up today, any advice that you would give to people who are wanting to, I guess, overcome their issue, whatever their monster is?
Face it with joy and laughter, and don't let it define who you are. You get to choose who you are. And so, like I said, I stand on my faith, and I'm supported by my friends, my family, and that's who I get to be.
And so competition's coming up?
We got one this spring.
So you're going to sign up for the one in Billings this spring?
This spring, and then go back to Idaho over Labor Day.
Okay.
If they're far enough apart.
Okay.
But yeah, Vivi and I are both looking forward to doing the one here if everything goes okay.
Well, wonderful. And I think it's in April, so I think it'll be. I think it'll be.
That would be good.
Or May. Might be in May.
Okay, but we are looking towards that one. All things going well with my chemo.
Awesome. Well, that's been such a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you for having
and learn
me.
all about you. I know you, but of course it's always fun. I always learn more. And everybody, thank you so much for joining us on All About Billings, and we hope to see you next time.